Hello, my name is John Rose, and in this video I'm going to take a closer look at our backup system that we use under less than ideal conditions. And it's important to understand it's less than ideal conditions. We have a backup system for that. All the animals and plants on this planet have that backup system everywhere when conditions become less ideal. Food scarcity, my friends, it's built in. We know how to survive. Animals will hibernate or Aestivate. They'll have a winter sleep or a summer sleep, depending on whether it's too cold or it's too dry. We know how to survive during those times. Humans are no different. We have that same backup system that we use to adapt to less than ideal conditions. And it's really sad right now that there's so much confusion around nutrition and there's so much evil associated with it, because that's why we're so sick as a species. We're eating the wrong food. That it's so hard for the average person to really make sense out of all of this. And it's easy to be tricked and fooled into accepting what we want to hear, isn't it? Hey, I grew up eating that. I love it when I hear it's okay to eat it and it's healthful. And sure enough, I did it their way and I saw better results than when I did it my way. Well, most of us are making 5 mistakes. You stop making 3 of them, you're going to see better results, but you're still making 2 mistakes. And one of them is similar to what happens with our backup system, because it will kick in ketosis. Now, if we take a solid food vacation on water, if we have to because of food scarcity or because we're sick, what happens after about 3 days, we run out of carbohydrates. Our brain, biggest ones on the planet, we need a lot of carbs, don't we? Got to keep that supply going. So after about 3 days, the body knows what's going on. It kicks in ketosis. Starts using fat for fuel, for energy. But it also kicks in autolysis. That's where the body self-digests itself. So in water fast, you turn your body into an eating machine. You cannibalize garbage inside you. Doesn't belong there, because the body's smart. It knows what to do. It'll go after garbage, and then the fat, and then the muscles if it has to. So this is what happens on a solid food vacation on water. The ketosis kicks in. It's a normal part of our process. And of course, some of the stupid arguments you hear from people who promote the ketogenic diet are going to say, well, it's normal. It's not harmful. There's nothing wrong with it. It's normal. Yeah, it is. It's our backup system. It's what we use in less than ideal conditions. And the only thing less than ideal now, it's not like every other animal on the planet where the conditions are less than ideal because there's not enough food. There's food scarcity. We have food abundance, but we're eating the wrong food and we don't know it's the wrong food. So now we can adapt to that and go into a ketogenic diet on a temporary basis and see better results, but on the long term, it's not what we're supposed to do. If you really truly understand how we're designed, especially from a fuel point of view, you'll realize that the most important nutrient we need from a macro point of view are those carbohydrates. And yet you'll hear stupid arguments by the ketogenic people saying, oh, there's no essential needs for carbohydrates. There's no anti-nutrients in meat and bones and blood. It drives me crazy when I hear somebody talking about it and they do a video and then you see the comment section saying, oh, you did such a great job of explaining it, it all makes sense. And no, it deceives you, it tricks you, because you don't truly understand the big picture. They'll give examples that are straw man arguments. They say, look at the bear, it doesn't go into ketosis. No, bears aren't like us. We're not bears. You can't compare the two. Bears are true carnivores, omnivores. They can convert those excess berries they eat to store as fat and then live off that fat while they're hibernating for up to 6 months. Some of them, they can convert those stored fats to carbohydrates. So all plants and animals live on their stored reserves during these times that are less than ideal. Hibernation, estivation, winter sleep, summer sleep. Oh, look at the bears. They got to sleep all year long because they can't go into ketosis. See, we're better going to ketosis than the bears. But bears are better at converting fat than to carbohydrates. We can't do that at all. It's real easy to be tricked and fooled on this subject matter unless you really truly understand how everything works, especially that very small carbohydrate fuel take. I'm going to put down below in the description box several videos you need to watch where I explain how this works. This low carbohydrate nonsense in our essential, that there's no essential need for carbohydrates. And yet we have a symbiotic relationship with carbohydrates, with the foods that are rich in those, the ones we're designed to eat, not the grains. I'm talking about the fruits, the vegetables. And the most important nutrient we need are carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are so important that if we don't eat them, we eat our own muscles to get them. Unless you eat a whole bunch of dead animal flesh from another animal. Oh, it's good. It's a healthy diet. We're supposed to be hunters. We're supposed to kill. God, some of the dumb comments I read, it's frightening to think that there are people who probably know they're lying and promoting, or just so deluded they want to believe that. They think there's something good about killing something. And yet that's not part of our nature. Once again, we have a symbiotic relationship with the only food that wants us to eat it. Animals don't want us to eat them. And if we stop eating the plants we're not biologically adapted to eat, and we stop processing our foods, we stop using chemicals, but we still cook and eat dead animal flesh. And even if we don't cook, but we eat dead animal flesh, things aren't going to work. That's not how we're designed. Again, if you correct 3 mistakes, you're going to get better results. You correct that other mistake, you're getting really better results. You got a lot of people eating raw meat and saying, look, I'm getting such good results. Yeah, you corrected 4 mistakes. And you're kicking in ketosis as your backup system. It's what you do in less than ideal situations or conditions. And yes, we do have a less than ideal condition on our planet. It's not food scarcity, it's food abundance, and it's the wrong food abundance, and ignorance that goes with it, so we don't know it's the wrong food. So we have autolysis that kicks in on day 3 or 4 on a water fast, a solid food vacation on water. Autophagy. I've had people ask me, John, why are you drinking so much juice? Why don't you want to kick in autophagy? Well, when you look at programmed cell death, we have apoptosis, that's type 1 cell death, and then we have autophagy, that's type 2 cell death. I don't like to use autophagy because it can go too far and cause cell and actually kill the cell. Now, apoptosis is very important, folks, for people with cancer, because cancer cells are immortal. They lost that gene that tells them to die. All our cells are programmed to die. But when a cell gets burned, mostly by our own waste matter or by anything else that will burn it, like chemotherapy or radiation, the cell's damaged. And the so-called professionals say the only way we can kill it was chemotherapy. Yeah, well, you'll kill everything. Let's just burn down the house to get rid of that mouse. That's their approach. Not realizing there are at least 6 ways I know of that we can induce apoptosis and destroy the cell death, the cancer, take away the cancer cell immortality. Iodine induces apoptosis and takes away cell immortality. So does marijuana. So does curcumin. That's the pigment that's in turmeric. That's what makes, that's the pigment that makes curry yellow. That too takes away the cell immortality. We got GCMAF, that will do the same thing. Ultrasound will do it, but guess what? Vitamin D, why do you think I'm out here without a shirt on December 1st, 2018 here in Houston? It's almost 80 degrees out. Woo! You can hear noise all over the place. Everybody's out of the park today. It's a beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky. It's gorgeous. And this is going to be a cold winter, I hear. Not worst year ever of how many sunspots on the sun. So it's going to be a cold one. We already had a freeze, coldest freeze we ever had. But yet it's a beautiful day today. I'm getting my vitamin D. Can't emphasize enough how important vitamin D is, especially this time of year. You got to take every opportunity you can to get out there and get as much sun exposure as you can. In fact, I was rereading Herbert Shelton's book, Volume 3 of a 7-volume series, Fasting and Sunbathing. He put the 2 together. Isn't that interesting? He had a real nice section on autolysis. Now, autolysis was first seen in print in 1900. Autophagy, 1963 in London. And they used that to take away the focus from autolysis. Had someone ask me the other day when I was talking about water, a solid food vacation on water, turn your body into an eating machine, a solid food vacation on juices in a cleaning machine. He says, are you talking about autophagy? No, it's autolysis. People who rule the world are tricking us. They don't want us to study autolysis because then we'll realize it ties back to fasting, not just for a few days, forever, or not forever either, but for the appropriate length of time so you can transform your body. We need a vacation from life, my friends, whether it be on water or juices. Most of us have a hard time on water for many reasons. Economic, right, is the most important one. because you got to take a vacation from life. People can't do that. It's more aggressive. Kicks in autolysis. A solid food on vacation does not kick in autolysis. Now, if you don't drink enough juice, you can kick in autophagy. And you might want to do a little bit of that, but you got to be careful, especially in the beginning, because it's so important on a solid food vacation to drink a whole lot of juice so you're flushing everything out. You don't drink enough juice, you won't rehydrate that serpent in your belly so you can poop it out of you. You won't keep that carbohydrate fuel tank full so you have plenty of energy all day long. You don't want to kick in ketosis on a solid food vacation on juices. The only benefit that you might get from drinking less juice is once you've got all that garbage out and you're at the end, maybe then you might try lowering the calorie content a little bit to kick in that nutrient recycling aspect of us, where the body can eat up some more garbage. So, I know it's hard to make sense out of the ketogenic diet because we see people getting results with it. And you can't argue saying it's not normal or natural because it's part of our backup system. Remember, 2 groups of needs. Law of cause and effect, 12 essential needs. Ripple effect, 2 additional temporary needs. So, if we're damaged, we have to realize just satisfying those essential needs is not enough. We might need to kick in autolysis, autophagy. And especially if you have some cancer cells, you want to understand apoptosis. Now, I can't help but laugh at that word because for many years I pronounced it apoptosis. And it was funny because I was just watching a video by random the other day by this doctor. Don't you love the doctors with the trying to establish credibility? They got this lab coat on, they have their stethoscope across their neck. I'm so smart. And, you know, we don't study nutrition, but I'm going to come out here and talk about it. But hey, I'm talking about it. But I've been spending 28 years, 30 years studying this. Over 30 years studying nutrition, but it wasn't until I found this other library of knowledge that I realized I wasn't studying nutrition at all. So if you're pushing a ketogenic diet, you don't know anything about nutrition, you don't know anything about your anatomy, you don't understand your carbohydrate fuel tank. Watch my videos below about low carbohydrate nonsense, and you'll be able to understand how this fuel tank works, and it'll help you understand what kind of food you're supposed to eat. It's not complicated. We have anatomical limitations. Again, there's 2 groups of needs. We have a species-specific diet based on those anatomical limitations, but then if we damage ourselves, we have another group of needs. You might have to do something above and beyond what we'd normally do. Whether it's to induce apoptosis, or autophagy, autophagy, is that how you pronounce it? How about autolysis? For years I pronounced that autolysis. I mispronounce words all the time. In fact, I had a great conversation with a woman the other day. I was telling her about the curse of Canaan. She goes, no, it's the curse of Canaan. I go, no, it's not. So I checked it on the Webster's spell dictionary. It's the curse of Canaan. That was funny. Anyway, I butcher words all the time. I even say words I don't mean to say. And I hate to throw all these scientific words out there to you. That's what this one doctor was saying. Scientific words. Apoptosis, apoptosis. Autophagy, autolysis. Don't be tricked if you don't understand autolysis. If you're looking at autophagy and you don't know anything about autolysis, you're not going to find it probably unless you know how to search for it. Make sure you add Herbert Shelton on with those words. Look at his books that he wrote. Fasting and Sunbathing, Volume 3 of that 7-volume series telling you about. He has a great section on autolysis and how it's used in animals, hibernation, Aestivation. What do animals do in less than ideal conditions? Yes, we are in a less than ideal world. That's why our species-specific diet doesn't work anymore. 2 groups of needs. We're damaged individually. The environment's damaged. Our society's damaged. Our ideal diet, or a species-specific diet, might not satisfy all of our essential needs as it did before. And remember, carbohydrates are the most important essential nutrient we need. We need essential amino acids, essential fatty acids, essential amino acids. Mother's milk's only 5% protein. I'll give you 10 just to give it a little leeway on it, because I know you like that protein, right? And then what's the percentage for our essential fatty acids? 1%, 2%? Okay, 12%, at least 88%, maybe 93% of our calories should be carbohydrates, theoretically. That's how we're designed. We got a small carbohydrate fuel tank. We're supposed to eat carbohydrates every time we eat. We're supposed to top off the carbohydrate fuel tank so we never kick in ketosis. That extra carbohydrate goes into fat. So we have an efficient store of fat. But we're not bears. We can't convert that fat into carbohydrates. It's got to come from our muscle mass. There's a way to get around it. That's what these guys are doing. They're feeding you so much animal protein that 58% of that protein can be used for gluconeogenesis, the creation of these new carbohydrates that we need. Because we've emptied our fuel tank and now we're kicked in ketosis. So many silly arguments trying to push this diet. When you analyze it and look at what it's doing, it's ridiculous. Why? You got to test yourself, make sure you stay in it. Shouldn't have to do that. If you want to keep things simple, you have to keep things simple if you want to make any sense out of this. Use your simple brain. Understand the carbohydrate fuel tank. I explained that in my video, low carbohydrate nonsense. It's very small. There's a symbiotic relationship with the food that wants us to eat it, the fruits. They're very high in carbohydrates. When the food is abundant, every time we eat, we're filling up our carbohydrate fuel tank. We've always got a full fuel tank, not a problem. But when food is scarce, if there's a drought, if it's in the winter, we can't find food. Do you go into a winter sleep, a summer sleep, or do you kick in ketosis and eat a bunch of meat? It's our backup system. Well, we are opportunistic eaters. If the crap hits the fan, that's all we can do, then that's what we do. But we don't live in that kind of world right now. We live where there's a food abundance on this planet. It's just most of it's the wrong food. And most of us have no clue that it's the wrong food. So what's the solution for anyone to make any sense out of this? There's only one solution. You got to correct those 5 mistakes on a temporary basis. That's more where my solid food vacation is on juices. If you're all excited about autophagy, then make sure you poop out that serpent. Make sure you establish some good reserves. And then toward the end of your solid food vacation, you can try eating less calories and go kick in autophagy. Otherwise, the rest of us, we won't be able to make any sense out of anything. Because we don't know what we're missing. You gotta see what you're missing. That's the whole purpose of my solid food vacation. Quit making those 5 mistakes on a temporary basis. Support your body in every way if it's been damaged in any way. And God, we've been damaged in so many ways, this can get real complicated for some of you guys, and I know. Trust me, I know how complicated it can be. Something as simple as not getting sleep will ruin your life. Absolutely ruin it, because that's when we heal. So remember, when we heal ourselves, we have to look at our body in its entirety. We're a lot like a chariot being pulled by a dozen horses. If one of those horses come up lame, what do the other horses do? They slow things down. We have to do the same thing. Are we satisfying all those essential needs? How about air? Are you smoking cigarettes? Working inside some manicuring place and breathing in those nail polishing chemicals? How about water? Are you drinking fluoride water, chlorinated water? Sleep, sunshine. Oh my God, if you're not getting those, you're missing the pieces of the puzzle that are probably keeping you from seeing results when you do something as simple as eat the diet you're supposed to eat. So, again, what's the average person able to do to make any sense out of this? There's only one thing that will help you truly understand what's going on. We're making 5 mistakes, correct them on a temporary basis, take a solid food vacation, and then you can find out how you fare with other foods after you eat them. If you go long enough, you're going to reset your whole feedback system. Because right now we have a malfunctioning survival mechanism, or a feedback system, where we're a lot like the person who smoked a cigarette a long time ago and coughed his head off. And next thing you know, smoking a couple packs a day, and now a couple decades later, I'm coughing again. Developed a latent disease, didn't we? Don't be fooled when you go from making 5 mistakes to 2 mistakes and you're feeling better thinking that's the solution. You have to understand how important those other 2 mistakes are. And a lot of you are at least not cooking the food, so I guess if you're going to eat the animal, eat it raw. But God, that makes me want to gag. I don't see how any of you guys can do that. Not to mention what you're doing to make it happen. You're taking the life of another animal you don't need to take. I haven't consumed an animal in 32 years, 64 now. Been about 98% raw for the last 28 and a half years. Never felt better in my life. Can't even begin to tell you how good I feel at my age. I can't relate to it in any way. And I haven't needed to eat any animals or cook food to do it. The less of those I eat, the better my life is going to be, and the better it's going to make your life too. But remember, just because you can eat something doesn't mean you're impervious to its effects. Some of us can't eat plants because of the gluten. Some of us can't eat the animal products because of the lactose. So some of us might be more adapted based on what our ancestors did to eat certain diets. I'll put a link down below to the paleo versus vegan diet, where I explain why those one diet might actually work better for another than one diet might work better for some people than the other. There's a reason for that. I'll go into detail on that video. Once again, every one of my videos try to get you guys to do one thing. Take a solid food vacation if you haven't done it yet. May not be what you need to do. You might need to be focusing on your sleep more than anything. Most important. But if you're full of garbage, if you still have that garbage in you, you got to get it out. And I know from experience, not only because I've done it myself, but I've coached thousands of people. When you get it out of you, oh, you're in for a treat.